And what we're doing today is we are ripping part of the model, doing some little configuration and taking away some stuff, and we're going to export it as an STL, and then we're going to add it back to the model to have that wow factor because, yeah, there wasn't enough wow. So I'm doing this on the phone because we're going to walk around a little bit. So I apologize if it's not as professional as the other ones. So we're going to have a little bit of movement around here. But the first thing we're going to end up doing, and I'm going to make sure that we're set. And while I do that, you can be sure to hit the like button for this video. And this is for those people that you print out a part and perhaps it just doesn't have enough details, or it has some details and you want to add more. You can take some of those parts by using Tinkercad in some circumstances to extract those parts to add more parts to the model to make it look cool. So let's go ahead and take a look, and I'll show you what we're talking about here because it's a thing. So here we are, and let me set up everything. Here we are in Tinkercad, and let's take a look. What we're doing is, no, it's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one or that one. Add AR rifle from Borderlands 4, and they have their own file that they offer, so which is kind of cool. It's got a pretty good thing on here. But notice on this side of the model, it's kind of blank. And what's interesting is because on the opposite side, you actually end up seeing, they don't show it on here, but we'll be able to take a look at it. There's a little bit of a decal on there. And let me see if any of these pictures, there it is right there. So what we're looking at is on this side of the model. And we can see that circle there, that little diagram. Detail, whatever you want to call it, is on one side of the rifle and it's not on the other. And so the other side just kind of looks naked and well, kind of, looks good on that side, but on the other side, like what we ended up seeing in the pictures here, we don't have that. So it's just kind of bare. And honestly, I wanted something a little bit more to kind of just add another bit of flair to this. So what I ended up doing is taking this model, and of course you can download a bunch of parts. Here are the files. You can download everything, and the file in question is, I think it's on the other side of that. So anyway, what I ended up doing is downloading that, and we went to Tinkercad. So here's Tinkercad, here is the final result. But what we ended up doing is basically, first we went into our slicer program. So there's the piece. And what we ended up doing is taking that piece. Let's see if we can find it. Gravatar body kit. No, that's not it. Borderlands DD AR rifle. There it is. And I think it's this piece right here. So let's go ahead and we'll drag that into Creality Print. Yep, that's exactly what we want. And the problem is with this piece right here, when you try to import it, you can see the import in the top right-hand corner, there's too many triangles, there's too many polygons or whatever it is for this. So I had to bring it into Creality Print. And with that, what we ended up doing is going over here to Slice. And what we ended up doing is just kind of doing this. We performed the cut. Yeah, we know that they're too close to each other. And we got to get out of there. And then we delete that. We do the same thing again. We go to cut. We just kind of move this up until it's about right there. We perform that cut. Yes, I know. We'll move that out of the way. We'll delete that. And through a series of cuts, what we were able to do is to get this part so that way we would be able to export this and get it into the Tinkercad. So let's see if we can pull this, and basically we kind of just went right about there like that, and then we cut it again. And again, yeah, we've got all that stuff. Yeah. Come on, let's go. We'll get rid of that. And so we selected this piece here, and then we right click, and what we ended up doing is going down here to where it says export as one STL, as we can see down in the bottom. So we can kind of see that. Where is it? Export as one STL. So we're able to actually get that, export it, and then we imported that piece into Creality Print. Or not Creality Print, but into Tinkercad. And what was it? Downloads into this piece here. So I just named it details. We moved it over. Everything, just go ahead and import it. And next thing you know, boom, Bob's your uncle, supposedly. Maybe. We're waiting. Tinkercad takes a while. It's not one of those official CAD programs. But here it is. So then what we ended up doing is taking this piece here, and we just kind of rotate it around. And then all we ended up doing is just taking like some of this and some of these whole blocks and just kind of doing this. And then, you know, we copied this and then we brought it up this way. We kind of did the thing there. And then we pulled this out and then we pulled that out. And basically through a series of cuts, what we're able to do is to take this and be able to, I don't have it perfectly square, so we're just going to try to jerry-rig this a little bit and try to get it perpendicular. We're not going to get it perfect, but you can just kind of get the general idea of what we ended up doing and basically kind of getting it like that. And we had to set the settings to the snap grid down at the bottom right at 0.1 millimeters. So that way we could end up and we can kind of do something like that. And yeah, and then through the grouping, what that'll end up doing is allowing us to basically get the shape. Now we have to do a little bit of, you know, we have to do a shape here. We have to get rid of that piece there, which should be pretty easy. So let's go ahead and we'll bring this and we will raise this up. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I want to do like this, and then like that, and then like this. And then we group all that together, and that will get rid of that piece there. And then, because we have this area here that needs to get cut out, and we don't have a shape for that. So what we end up doing is actually taking our sketch tool, which is going to be this tool here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring that and bring it like that. And so now what we can end up doing is zooming in here, and we can kind of just do a series of little line, and closer together we're pretty good. And this should pretty much follow the line or the outline of the model for the most part. And we're just going to kind of do just a little quick little one-off thing like so. We'll finish the sketch, and then what ends up happening is down on the bottom, as we see there, then we can raise this up, and that creates the piece that we need to make a hole. So we're going to go over here to the top right, we'll make that a hole, and then we'll group everything. And that should give us pretty much kind of the piece we need. You know, that would be a little bit more straight, but you take more time to do that. And so once I ended up having that piece there, then what I ended up doing is just selecting it, and we exported it. Boom, we did that already. And then I put that into Creality Print, which is this right here. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And we can go ahead and get rid of that. And so what I ended up doing is just placing this on the bottom, and then we printed that out. When we sliced this up and did the estimate, we can see that this is going to be about 13.5 grams. It's going to take about 42 minutes, and it's about 27 cents. Now I'm using the 0.16 layer height with about 7% infill with adaptive cubic, as we can kind of see there. So that works. And boom, 42 minutes later, we've got our part. So now what we're going to end up doing, I'll just take you with me. It's the joy of having a cell phone. And we will take a look. There is the rifle they're going to be taking a look at. And then we'll take a look at our part. And this is our K2 Plus. And there it is in all its glory. So that pops off. And so we will take this over here. I'll see if we can find a steady place and where we can do this. And so here's our print. We did a brim on that just to make sure. And then our supports come off like butter. And we've got a little bit of stuff we can end up. I mean, look at that. That just came out awesome. Such a nice surface. Just a little bit of sanding on there, and you're good to go. So yeah, we're able to get this piece that mimics the piece that we have on this side. So now, when we put this over here, we could put this over and we could have that in the center and we could have one on each side. The other thing I did notice is that we've got this little piece here. So we might actually have to cut this. But if we wanted to have it exactly the same as on the other side, we could do something like that. So we might have to trim this out. We could always do another one. It's only like 29 cents or however much it is. We could get some calipers and measure that out so we could remove that. But you can see how nicely that came out. So if we just wanted to glue it as it is right here, I mean, that's a perfect match for that. I mean, you probably couldn't do much better than that. Now you might have to do a little bit of filling like we see on this side here, but for the most part, that is a quick and easy way in which you can add some details to this. So yeah, now the thing is, do I just go ahead and make another part and reprint it so it's perfect, so it runs, and is flush? Or what we could end up doing is just taking a utility knife and then just cutting this piece off, measure that out, cut it off, and then just put it on there and glue it, and we could do that as well. So really, you've got some options when it comes to printing some of that stuff out. But again, you get some details on there that you didn't have before that adds a little bit of character. Because like I said, you have the character on this side, but you don't on this side. And this is just, I mean, no one knows what this is for. So if you just put this on there, it just adds a little bit of detail work in this vast expanse of nothing. So I would rather have something like that than something like that, and we are good to go. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff that we can end up doing. The other thing we could end up doing, since we're talking about this, is we could get our tape measure, and you can look at this, and this is approximately 4 millimeters. Yeah, that's 4 millimeters from the outside, from that flush part there to that. And so what we could end up doing here is taking off 4 millimeters from that right there. So tell you what, let's go ahead and do that. The good old K2 Plus. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. And the great way to do this is, I think we could do it. Get us back level again. I think we're good to go. We could try to do this in Creality Print. we could take off that 4 millimeters, which if we get some calipers, we can take a look at this and see what this lip is, the distance of that lip, because we might luck out, and if that is you want it like that, you want to get rid of I'll cut in a little bit to the model, but we might be able to do this. I think we could. So we have our choice that we could either go back to Tinkercad and redo this little piece here and take off this lip so it fits onto the model there, and then re-export it and then put it into Creality Print. Or we could just kind of go into Creality Print, kind of eyeball it, and we could try it that way. So let's give that a shot. And we could measure this out as well. So here is the part that we have that we're going to put on the other side, and we need to take off about 4 millimeters. So if we get our measuring tool, we can go from this side to about right there, and the distance, that's about 5 millimeters. But that's the distance from there to there, so we don't want that. We want about right. Wow, this is going to be kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and take that back, and then we'll go back, and we there to, man, this is odd. You take it there to, it doesn't do the point-to-point thing. It just does that. You go there now. Take that off. We will go from there to about right there. That's about 2 millimeters, but that's kind of angled. Let's just cut this and see what happens, because we need to take off about 4 millimeters. And with the piece that we have, we can try to get an estimate, an estimation of that. So let's just do this. We'll bring this down like that, and no, we're good to go. I'll just kind of bring this in. Oops. There we go. And I wish, so there, and we've got some measurements here. Okay, so we can do the measurement. So we ended up with a measurement of 3.99. So you can see there, object A and object B. So if we cut that off, this should give us enough to be able to cut that out. Let's see if we can get it just so close, 4.01. We'll do 4.01. So that's what we end up there. So we'll just go here, we'll perform the cut. There it is, it's good to go. We'll get rid of that. And then this should be the piece that we want. So that should be good to go. Let's go ahead and zoom out. And what we'll end up doing is rotate this around a little bit. And then we'll slice this plate up. And again, we're at a 0.2 or 0.16. And this should end up taking, 40 minutes. We've got 4 wall loops. Let's knock that down to 3. And the infill is 7% with adaptive cubic. And okay, so we knocked it down to 39 minutes. It's 21 cents. So we dropped like 9 cents off of this. But there is our model, and we should be good to go. So let's just go ahead and we will print that out. We're going to be using the side spool holder, which is Polymaker Hyper PLA or PLA matte. No calibration because we already know that's good. And it is sending it. Make sure there's nothing on the plate. We do have our little test line, so I'll make sure that we get rid of that. And spool holder, filament unused. Okay, yeah, I don't want to do that. Oh, okay, so I didn't say. Now I got to go back. Preview. I'll send it to the print again. Again, we're doing the side spool holder, no calibration. Start print. We're good to go. And now we should be good. So let's see how that works. We get movement. Maybe, maybe not. And what do we have? Do we have anything? Not yet. A little bit of squiggly there. We'll get rid of that. And back to the computer. Let's just move this a little bit. We'll put it right there. We'll reslice. Go back to send to printer. We're going to be on the spool holder. We'll do that. Now start working. There we go. So like we said, so that's starting, and that's going to end up doing our little piece. And to kind of do a quick little review, we're not going to wait the whole time to do the print, but basically, let's see if we can, someplace where we can get a little bit of light. So here was the print that we ended up doing, and we noticed here that we got this cool design, but on the other side, it's this vast empty space that doesn't have anything. So through this process, what we ended up doing is taking this one piece of the model, we cut it up in Creality Print so that we could isolate this piece here, took it into Tinkercad, we were able to isolate and cut away so that we ended up having this. So basically when we get to this side, let's do it like this. You get to this side, and that is, I mean, look how good of a fit that is. I mean, that's going to turn out really well, but we had to, it's not in the exact same space, so we had to take out that 4 millimeters so that way we could put it in the exact same place on both sides. So that way, yeah, we end up being able to take some models that if you have some cool details on one side and on the other side there's nothing, but you want to have that cool detail on there, there's a way, a workaround if you don't know how to do some of that high-speed Blender Fusion CAD 360 stuff and you just do Tinkercad like me. You are able to rip some details off of models and then use Tinkercad, export it, and be able to print this stuff out. So, and add a little bit more flair to your cosplay models. And you could do this with pretty much anything else on here. So, yeah, you're not stuck with just the model itself. So yeah, pretty excited about that. So let's take a look and we'll see how our little item is going. And it's still preparing. We're going to end up, the bed is heating up. Supposed to get up to 220. Bed is going to be 50 Celsius. And yeah, that little part that we ended up making, ripping from the other one, should be doing quite well. And so what this will end up doing is actually, let me see, we can't zoom in on here. Oh, there we can. So we're getting a little bit, it's going to be extruding. And kind of getting ready, as you can see there. And it's going to do our little practice test line, which came out okay. And it's going to go ahead and start printing. And again, this is the K2 Plus. Works out pretty good. And again, we did, what was it, the three walls, 7% infill, adaptive cubic, and we'll able to print this thing up in about 38 minutes. So usually what I'll end up doing with something like this is I will watch it print out the first few layers, and then since it's printing at 100% speed, what I'll end up doing is going through, and then after it's got the good first layers, 3 or 4 layers, and kind of like what we're seeing there, once that gets, and it's starting to get the infill in there, and once I know that that is good to go, then what I'll end up doing here is coming in, and I will go to the settings, and we can see the temperatures, and we've got our speed. So we go down to speed, we've got some options: silent, stable, standard, which is normal, that's the default, and then the 125% speed. So when we go back here, instead of 38 minutes, it's going to be 30 minutes. And we can see that, yeah, we should be good to go. So usually for simple parts like that, even when I printed this out here, I up the speed on stuff like this. You know, something that's kind of like a, you know, not really complex, you know, just kind of a blocky type of thing. All those different sections after the first 5 minutes or so, then I would bump it up to the 125%, and you save a little bit of time. And for something like this, it's not going to be a big deal anyway. But it's kind of cool how you could end up, you know, putting some additional parts on there if you want some more flair. And this also begs the question, can you could import other parts and print and put on your models as well using Tinkercad, using existing files from somewhere else, free files, or you could make your own in Tinkercad, and then you could add those to your cosplay items as well. So don't think that you're limited to just what the file has. This just shows that you can individualize, add some more components to your cosplay armor, and it's kind of cool. You know, you can kind of personalize it. So just a little bit of different tweaks and tips to kind of set your cosplay items just a little different than somebody else's. So yeah, so that's pretty good. We're getting there, and we are at 4%, about 28 minutes. We should have our fixed part. And there it is, K2 Plus, rocking it out. And I think with that additional piece, because again, this piece sticks out, and I didn't take that into account, so we took off 4 millimeters off of this, and that's what we're printing now. So that way this piece will be like so, but it'll be flush. So it is the same as what we have on that side. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So yeah, there it is. We printed our own stuff, and we're going to continue to let that print because it's doing oh so well. And we're using a 2.5 kilogram spool of Polymaker PLA matte white. The other stuff I use is the matte black, and this side spool holder is what I made to replace the existing or the stock spool holder, and it's working really well. It's funny because I got the Creality one that has the bearings, and this spins too freely. So when the head pulls the filament, the gears, this unwinds, and then the filament just comes off, and it actually got caught up in here and stopped the print. Stopped the filament from going to the print, and so it was printing for like 20% of the print, but it was in midair not doing anything. So yeah, I'll just stick with tried and true. That works real well. So anyway, that's what we have. And yeah, just a cool way in which you can add some further personalization and details. Let's go ahead and get you all set. Is that level? Sort of, kind of. There's enough. So that way you could add some more details to your cosplay items. Whether you're doing masks, like I'm doing a Ripper mask, you could add some components to that. Or if you're doing, this is another Borderlands print that I'm doing, which is a model here, and you could add some different parts. What I ended up doing is adding rails on the left and the right side. So again, there's this empty space that just looked empty. It looks like, yeah, whoever modeled this up did a good job. But with this empty space that was here, we just ended up gluing on another rails to it. And yeah, it just looks a lot more detailed, looks a lot better in my opinion. So yeah, kit bashing is basically what it comes down to. Taking different models, making your own additions to models, or getting other free models and then printing them out and putting onto your cosplay items. Boom, it's a thing. So I was kind of excited about that to kind of make it look a little bit better. So no matter if you're holding a rifle on the left or whether you're holding it on the right, whichever dominant hand or eye that you are, you still get that same detail on both sides. Now, obviously, it's not going to be for everything, but yeah, again, like with the pistol thing that we have here, being able to add some additional parts and pieces to really set this up and to make it different and unique, you can use Tinkercad, you can use existing models, you could cut them in your slicer program or Tinkercad, you could export them, print them, and boom, next thing you know, you're good to go. So anyway, that's what we got going on. So currently, in about, now in here it says the remaining time is 25 minutes, but the machine time says it's going to be less than that. And I wonder, because we also have the Creality Cloud, and that should give us, that says remaining time is 25 minutes. So, I don't know, a few minutes here or there. Again, printing out at that 0.16 millimeters, get those really fine details so we have less post-processing work to do to be able to get some really cool masks, and that's what we ended up doing here with the Ripper mask. And boom, look at the details on that. This is all painted up and ready to go. We've got rust, we've got damage, and we still have some work on the eyes to do. But again, just those little tweaks that you can end up doing, you can make some really cool stuff for cosplay or display or whatever it is you want to do with the things that you print on your 3D printer. Have fun and enjoy it. So yeah, and this is all for the Halloween. And this is going to be the wife's. Hers is going to be in cadmium yellow with the stripe. Mine's going to be blue. And yeah, adding these little additional parts to the cosplay to like the pistol or the rifle is again a great way to customize your little bits and pieces to set them apart and have some more character, some more details, and that's what it's about. The little details that stand apart. So, all right, with that being said, I think it's going to be time to go. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. Send me an email, official, theverylife@gmail.com, to send me pictures of stuff that you do, and I'll put them in a future video to show what you guys are doing, and just kind of enjoying the 3D printing stuff. I get a kick out of it, and I like it. Learning how to paint and do all this stuff. It's a pretty good hobby, and the people are great. So, yeah, there it is. All right, we'll see you on the next video. Peace. Alrighty, we're done.